Morning, everybody. It's Kim. It is the end of March, and I finally had a decent day to get outside and get some yard work done. But today I wanted to show you some ways that I save money and recycle at the same time. And what I do is I make little mini greenhouses out of plastic bags that I find. Now, I was at work the other day. I was putting away, I don't know, it was a sweatshirt or something, and these bags are nice size. You know, it's got a logo on it, but I don't care. And I can use them as a way to protect my early spring crops. Now, in here, they had a couple of the boxes that you get fruit trees and stuff in, and they got kind of smashed, and they were selling them for $1 a piece on clearance. I get 15% off of that, so I paid 85 cents a piece for a raspberry, a yellow raspberry, a hardy kiwi, and a blackberry bush. So that's when it's starting to sprout, so I didn't want to leave it in the house. So I figured, why not bring it out here, put the plastic bag over it. I don't know if, they're all going to live or not, but, I paid under $3 for everything. Make sure you snip a corner off, because if it gets too hot, you're going to have an issue. But I can come over and turn it down if I need to, if it's going to be a little cool. And in worst case scenario for these, I can toss them in my shed. Now, in this container here, I'm going to put you in there a little bit. This thing was overflowing with strawberries, excuse me. So they were literally cascading out the sides. I repotted what needed to be in this pot. Once again, they don't look great. Some of them haven't started to sprout yet, but you can see some of them are beginning to sprout. So they're okay on their own because they came up without the plastic, but I transplanted them. We usually get a crazy amount of rain this time of year. Last year we had a very late snow, so I figured give them a little protection. Once again, a plastic bag that some kind of clothing came in, or that might have been one where I put together a table and chair set with an umbrella, and I saved the big bags. This here is some Arbor Day trees that my neighbor got, and they did not arrive to her until the end of November when it was frozen solid. She asked me if I wanted them. I stuck them in this pot outside, put the plastic over them, and we'll see if anything grows. So I'll give you a brief look at what the garden looked like before I got working on it here, and then I'll show you some of the other things that I did in the garden and why I don't necessarily dislike having a messy garden. Right, this is my garden area. It's a mess, I'm going to tell you. I didn't get a chance to finish cleaning it up last year. It suddenly went from being decent out to rescuing as many tomatoes as I could, and then it snowed early, so this is going to be one of my early spring cleanup projects. Okay, one of the reasons I do not get so upset about a messy garden is these right here. These were turnips that overwintered. I used them as a ground cover. We also ate them, and then we used the greens. Well, my turkeys, goats, chickens, and ducks, and pigs, they all like the greens, and these are biennial. They'll go to seed later in the year, which I will be able to plant again next year for a ground cover in the spring. And again, we'll eat them, and the greens will be good all year, the turkeys and everybody. I leave these outside the fence so they can come harvest their own. And then, let me show you in here, I have them on my side of the fence, and these will be for seed and the greens that I eat. All right, so let me come around here. Let me tell you, this garden, when we moved in here, it was like concrete. This is extremely heavy clay. And I know a lot of people get upset about tilling. We do not deep till, we surface till. What I do is I take all of the leaves from all our trees, and it completely surrounds our 3 acres. We sweep those up in the fall, along with any of the apples that may have dropped from the trees, and we spread them across the entire surface, and where the rows, between the rows, I will surface till those in. And then in the spring, we come by and we just go the opposite direction just to kind of spread everything out. Now I have to come back and add my amendments, which we need lime in this area because it's extremely acidic. And then that is my compost pile. That's going to be put over this entire surface, and then I will rake up my rows and, you know, mulch in between the rows and whatnot. Now, what I do in the spring before I even get near to this stage is I come through and I very carefully inspect the garden for any volunteers that came up or leftovers from last year. Now, this is the other tub that has all my strawberries, and that's one of those great big, I don't know, some kids use it for like a toy box, or it's a muck bucket. If you have horses, you know, you put your horse poo in it, but it's big. It's I don't know, 5-10 gallons, whatever, and that's got a bunch of strawberries that would have been tilled under. Now this bed here, I carefully looked, and I found some lettuce that had volunteered itself, and some onions, and I found 2 really nice cloves of garlic that I got missed. I separate them out. The cloves are already about this big around. They'll grow and they'll give me some nice big bulbs to use later in my cooking. And then I came back here, and this is going to be my carrots this year. But this will also be, once I eat what I want, I'll let them go to seed, and I will have my vegetable seeds, my lettuce, and onion seeds for next year. Now, onions and turnips are both, and as well as carrots, but I did not have any carrots. I couldn't find any. They seed the second year, so if you do not let them overwinter, you won't get any seeds from them. Now, I have to take a second to take the cover off of here because there's some more things I found under there. So what I have in here is, you can see on the surface, I planted a bunch of lettuce. There's some more onions over there. Now, before they go to seed, I will just keep taking the tops off to eat. And then all of that spinach there overwintered itself. I moved it all here because, again, I'm going to eat it, but it will go to seed early this spring, and I can replant. And then, I don't know, this is some kind of a brassica. Could be a little cabbage that overwintered. And that is either a broccoli. I think that might be a broccoli. But if I get something from it, I do. If I don't, I don't. But this is going to be my seed, that spinach. Almost always comes back for me. My lettuce almost always comes back, and it will bolt really early in the spring where I can replant it. And I do these little makeshift greenhouses out of trash, and that's what helps them get an early start. So anyway, I just wanted you to see what I managed to get accomplished today. Oh, I did clean the outside bed up. I just raked it up lightly because it gives me a chance. That's a perennial flower bed, and I've got my asparagus right in that area, and I could go out there now and dig up the noxious weeds because I have to get them earlier. Like I said, that's not as nice soil as what I have in the garden, so it gets really, really hard in the spring and makes it difficult to dig later. So anyway, that's what I got done today, and I'm hoping you're enjoying your early spring, and have a wonderful day, everybody.